Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from relationship advice. Our first post is by Greedy Anything. My boyfriend of 4 years, 27M, ghosted me 27F after I was in a car accident. My boyfriend 27M of 4 years and I 27F got into a bit of a silly argument the other day and went to bed not talking. We currently don't live together. The next morning I woke up to a long apology text from him. I texted him back, accepting his apology and apologizing as well. Minutes later, I was involved in a car accident as a passenger in a vehicle. I was lucky enough to be able to walk away from the scene, but it was a very, very close call. Extremely traumatic for me. I went to the hospital shortly after with my mom. I called my boyfriend before arriving at the hospital to let him know what was happening. He couldn't believe what I was telling him and expressed how grateful he was that I was still alive. Hours later, as I'm arriving back home from the hospital, he called me to check in. I missed his first call but answered on the second one 2 minutes later. We were on the phone together for less than 3 minutes. As I was explaining to him the situation, I was stuttering. I was trying to get out, the guy at the hospital said, referring to the doctor or nurse that saw me at the hospital. My boyfriend swears he heard me say the hot guy at the hospital. He wouldn't listen to me. He began talking over me, saying things like, "What hot guy at the hospital? You messed up, you're tripping on your words. You might not have meant to, but you definitely said hot guy at the hospital." I got fed up that I couldn't get a word in and loudly said, "I'm going to hang up" over him speaking, then hung up on him. Seconds after, he texted me, "How are you going to say the hot guy at the hospital and then hang up on me? Whatever, feel better peace sign emoji." I'm not going to quote the whole exchange. It continued with me calling him effed for treating me like this after the day that I had. I told him that I was mentally and physically in so much pain and that there was no hot guy at the hospital, and I didn't say that. He said I was gaslighting him, and that lately I've been acting abusive and rude to him. He said, "Have a good day, feel better. I'm not dealing with this crap." It's now been 5 days and we haven't talked. He hasn't checked in on me at all. I'm pretty confident he hasn't asked any of my family or friends how I'm doing either. To be very clear, there was no hot guy at the hospital. Do I contact him first or continue to wait for him to contact me? Our next post is by Throwaway. Wife 36F wanted open marriage. After I, 38M, started dating, she wants to add more rules. What would you do in my position? 2.5 years ago, my wife Sarah, 36F, asked me to open our marriage. She strongly implied the alternative was divorce. After thinking it through, I said yes, primarily because we do have 2 children. I worked long hours and divorce sounded horrible. So I set up some ground rules. Not bringing dates into our house, no dating mutual friends, acquaintances, family members, colleagues, and keeping things private. For the next 2 years, I focused on my job and on my kids. I worked long hours. Little free time I had, I devoted to my kids. I didn't have the time for dating, so I wasn't even trying. I moved to another room because the thought of Sarah having sex with another man, then sleeping in my bed, felt horrible. Our relationship became purely transactional. We became partners at raising kids. I didn't want to know anything about her sex life. This summer, I managed to fulfill my financial goals. I do not have any debt whatsoever. Both of my kids have enough money in their college fund, and all I have to do is to keep adding some savings every month into the fund I made for their first home deposits. So I did some math and decided to cut my work from 74 hours to just 30 per week. Sarah wanted to get indebted again to buy another house and a new car. I said no. I used my free time to finally have a vacation I really needed. Took older son with me to tour US together. Did some renovation work on our house, turned basement into man cave, started working out, play sports, leading a healthier life. Then I actually started trying to land a date. For me, just having sex with somebody is not my thing. I want to at least be a friend before that, to go out together, watch movies, have fun and have sex. So I dated a couple of women and found a Jane with whom I clicked. With Jane I was going out to concerts, art galleries, comic cons, movies, and we would boink too. Sarah wanted to talk about my dates. I said no, then I caught Sarah snooping through my phone and we had a very strongly worded argument. Now Sarah wants to update the terms of our open marriage. She wants us repair our marriage by going to the counselor. She wants us to sleep in the same room, to go outside and have fun together. Our outside of marriage relationships are to be strictly sexual and nothing else. And we are to talk about our sexual partners. I told her that I am content with the situation as it is, and I don't mind if she finds a partner to go out with. I encouraged her to, and I don't want to talk about our partners. She is holding her ground. At this point, I'm split between trying to fix our marriage and handing her the divorce papers. I need an advice, guys. Our next post is by McSlice. I, 26F, found out my boyfriend, 29M, has been cheating, and I need advice on how to leave as elegantly and dramatically as possible. So I've literally just found out about this, so I apologize if this post is poorly written. To keep a very long story short, I live with my boyfriend of 2.5 years, and I caught him sexting a girl tonight. They clearly have talked several times before, by looking at his messages on his laptop. This is actually the second time that I caught him in this, so I'm absolutely certain I'm 100% done and need to get out of this. I'm thinking about that other Reddit story about the girl who found out her ex was cheating and just ghosted him without a word. And although I know I can't do that exactly, I'm trying to have a similar experience. When I go and tell him what I know, I want all my ducks in a row, and essentially kind of want to blindside him. I know I won't be able to break our lease without telling him, but is there anything else I can do before I go to him with the information? Definitely plan to tell my family, who is very close to him, and any mutual friends, slowly collect any belongings I know I want to keep, and make sure our finances are all squared away. What else am I missing? Update. Thank you so much for all the advice I took yesterday to just study and reflect, and was so surprised to see all the comments. I haven't said anything yet, but I'm not a good liar, unlike him. So I know I need to act fast and get out. I was acting a little cold, and it's actually laughable how much he was groveling, asking if I still loved him, telling me how much it hurts his feelings when I act that way. I won't be able to keep the act up at this rate. The biggest hurdle is that both of our names are on the lease we're renting. I'm pretty sure that they'll contact him once I inquire about breaking it. Plus, as a student, I don't have a ton of money to break a lease and start a new one. Work in progress. I took everyone's advice and haven't told anyone yet. So it's actually so comforting to feel like some people out there know and can empathize. Since I'm trying to wait until I have a place set up to tell him, I don't think I'll have a juicy update soon, but thank you so much again, everyone. Our next post is by Throwaway. Girlfriend 24F said I, 26M, was being unreasonable by not wanting her going out drinking with her ex. I have been with my girlfriend for just under 3 years. She has had 2 previous relationships that both ended when they cheated on her. Her first boyfriend she has not spoken to in 6 years, and the other one she hasn't spoken to in 4 years. Her first boyfriend recently messaged asking how she has been and just wanting to catch up. She told me about it and told me she was planning on replying. I told her I didn't see why she'd want to bother talking to him when he's not in her life anymore, but just said I can't stop her talking to him. She told me a couple more times when he messaged, but I believe they have been messaging slightly more than that. She mentioned today that he suggested them going for a drink with a few other friends and catching up. I told her I wasn't comfortable with her going, and she asked why. I just told her it's disrespectful to be out drinking with your ex. She said she just wants to catch up with him and the other friends, but I just repeated that I wasn't comfortable with her going. I said if she chooses to go, then that will be it with us, since I'm no going to just sit back while she's out drinking with her ex-boyfriend. She said I was being controlling, but I just pointed out I will only tell her what I am comfortable with and what I'm not comfortable with. She said I shouldn't be telling her not to go and should be fine with her going. How would you handle this? Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.